You should be hearing me. You guys can give me a 5x5. That way I can begin. It won't be a long one today. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we made it through another week. Obviously, we had a lot of things come out in the States to get the temperatures up a little bit for the summer. I'll save that for another discussion. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about how Forex is not really my interest at the moment. It doesn't mean I've put it away entirely. I haven't been talking about it much. And even my private group nudging me a little bit more than usual. But if anything, this week has shown it's the importance of knowing how to navigate and having someone or the skill set yourself to navigate the asset classes. When I first started back in 1992, my interest was solely on commodities. And that was like the grain markets like soybeans and crude oil, gold, things of that nature. And a little less than the first year, my interest shifted to bonds because I started seeing things that were a little bit more smoother in that market. And eventually tapping into Larry Williams' material and seeing what he did in 1987 with his Robbins account, specifically taking $10,000 to over $2 million that year, got a little bit hurt, dropped down to 700,000, and then traded it back to 1.2 million by the end of the year. So I shifted from grains and agricultural markets and then moved into more of a financial instrument like the bonds and E-mini S&P. Well, not E-mini S&P, but the futures contract S&P. Well, the idea of looking for systematic setups that repeat a lot, they do occur more consistently in financial instruments. And what do I mean by that? Well, in the agricultural markets like soybeans and coffee, lean hogs, live hogs, feeder caffeine, and when it used to be traded pork bellies, which doesn't trade anymore. And for those that don't know what a pork belly is, if you eat bacon, that's where it comes from. Those markets are a little bit more, well, let's say it this way. They're heavily influenced by supply and demand factors because it's a real market. It's a commodity grocery item. And you can't really eat gold. And you can't really eat an S&P 500 contract or a share. And that analogy really hit home with me when Larry Williams talked about how there's really no incentive, no real reason to own a share of IBM or particular, well, metal or futures. Now, his analogy was if you get stranded on an island somewhere, what would you rather have, a share of IBM stock or a bushel of wheat, a bushel of corn? You're going to eat. So those markets, and that's why I always speak facetiously about how these traders that go on looking for supply and demand in their trading, unless you're talking about commodities, the absence of supply and demand is the reality, because commodities are a real thing. It's a grocery store for the entire world. Just because a stock is expected to make money in the next quarter or the next few years or whatever, doesn't mean it's actually going to do it. And especially in the culture that we have today where you can be canceled unless you are constantly virtue signaling that you're going to support this view or this agenda. That to me is a real gamble. Whereas the supply and demand factors that make up the fundamentals of a futures market, like soybeans, wheat, Those things are heavily influenced by climate, the yields that the crops would obviously bring. And I know all this stuff probably doesn't mean much to you because if you're not a commodity trader or interested in those types of things, it's real easy to disconnect from the conversation. But when it comes to Forex, you're trading currencies. No, you're trading an illusion. See, money is a lie. It's been sold to us all that it's a valuable thing. It's a tool. We have to have it for exchange. You have a good, I have this currency. We're going to make an arrangement where I'm going to give you this currency for that good or that service. But like the dollar, there's really no value to it. There's no value to crypto. There's no value to any currency except for the faith and belief that it has value. And we are entering a time when that's going to probably be very disruptive. And because of that, and because of the uncertainty of that, I have elected to step away from it because I know over the next 24 months, why? Why the next 24 months? Because that's what you're thinking. Why are you saying 24 months? What's he wanting? What's he pointing to 24 months specifically for? Well, we have midterm elections coming up this fall. And then we have our presidential election all within around the 24 mark. There's a lot of things. Now, I know some of you look at an American guy like me, and these Americans, they think everything revolves around them. It's not entirely that. It's we are as America, we're the last domino to fall. Whether you like us or not, whether you like the fact that we have guns and we love our guns, okay, that's irrelevant. The point is if we fall, you're all screwed. And that's the reality of it all. And as long as we're gung-ho about standing up to agendas, let's say it that way, we have a chance. But if fall, our currency, which is in my mind the weakest it's ever been, will need to be replaced. And the question is if they're trying to do this global reset, if they're trying to do this overhaul on the financial system, which it's broken, let's be honest. There's no real fixing it. It's not a easy solution. I'm not smart enough to know what the solution is. So that way some of you are probably thinking, what would you do? I don't know. I wouldn't want to have the problem of fixing or coming up with a solution to all of this mess. I have a solution in mind, but it's above me and it is faith-based, and we're not going to talk about that today because I know a lot of you are not interested in that as well. But my transition away from commodities is a lot of the ways I'm viewing my movement away from Forex, because I want to be where there's going to be cleaner moves, more transparency in price. And because there's a lot of money, real money, tied up in 401k plans in the US, a lot of speculation in stocks in the US. I trust that. I trust that those movements are going to be more, well, like I mentioned, transparent. And what is it that I'm concerned about that keeps me from wanting to be a participant in it right now? And what would take me completely out of the game for Forex? Because right now I'm just taking a hiatus from it. I'm not trying to participate in it. I'm engaging it for analysis purposes, but I'm not actively placing live money in Forex right now. So I'm with real money in futures index trading. That's real money going behind that. if these are going to be subject to a global reset, and there's talks about each country having a digital currency, I think that's just going to be the final step before they all come together and say, you know what, it's just better if we just come to an agreement that we're going to just use one currency. That kills Forex. Now, as long as that doesn't happen, Forex will exist. There will be opportunities in Forex. But here is the concern I have. This is the thing that I'm paying a great deal of attention to and why I'm not willing to put my money at risk in it. Years ago, there was a depegging from the euro and Swiss franc. And when that happened, and you've heard me mention this before in passing, there is no safety net for you. There's no safety net for me. And stop losses will do nothing to protect you because it reprices hundreds and thousands of points instantly. No one in financial institutions, brokerage firms, hedge fund managers, they were all made insolvent, bankrupt, and they don't exist anymore. When that one event happened, and it was depeg, it was instantaneous murder. I see that coming. I see that coming not just for one currency, but potentially all of them. I don't want to be in something like that. I can't sleep at night know that I could be in a move where I have no control or escape mechanism or means of mitigating risk or reducing it to a measurable risk that I'm willing to take on as a speculative position. Now, I don't have that fear or concern with the equities market. Now, is that to assume that I don't think that they can have a crash or a sudden drop? They can, absolutely can. But I don't think that's as likely as the currencies. Think about it. You know, this whole space of crypto, when it became a thing, okay, everyone was cheap, and the diehards still do this. This is going to be the end of fiat currency. It's a segue to something new coming, but it ain't what you have right now. That's why I'm saying all those currencies that you guys are trading as coins, I don't think they're going to really exist in the same capacity that you see today or where they were 10 years ago or whatever. And you heard me mention in my animated discussion a couple weeks ago when I was saying that, and I honestly believe that Bitcoin will go to zero. I wasn't, pulling your chain or anything. I honestly believe it will. And here's the reasons why. I'm going to say this soberly so that you understand my opinion on it, and you're welcome to agree with it. I've had people come at me aggressively in email saying, you're wrong. I'm going to laugh at you, whatever. Laugh. I don't care. I don't have anything in the race. That means that my opinion is more objective than those that have money into it. So you need it to work. You need it to exist. I could care less. And I called moves in up and down. But here's the logic as the reason why I believe it's going to go to zero. And I believe all the current coins are going to go to zero. It's going to have that mechanism that people have faith in, but they have to have sacrifices. The sacrificial lambs that have to come in and say, okay, we learned our lesson with this coin and that coin and this one. And something has to die off to evolve. There has to be a change. And that has to come by theme. It can't be done gradually. It can't be a slow pitch. It's a better coin. Let's all believe once we have our money in, we go to this one. It has to be shock and awe. That's what they're all being herded into. When I say all asset classes are being treated this way. Because if they really are going to pull this great reset off, there is no safe haven. Even equities, commodity prices are going to be the only thing that are going to be real, and they're going to probably be hyperinflated next year. So ultimately, I think you need to prepare yourself for things just not being anything like normal. Trading's going to probably get real difficult for a period of time. And as long as you have that in your head, knowing that this is likely to happen, you won't lose your mind when it occurs. And you'll be patient and wait for things to unfold. Go through it because you're not going to stop it. I can't stop it. I have no solution or any alternative means of speculating. That's why I'm going to where I started. I'm back at my roots. So you think I'm just a Forex guy. That's just what I'm known for. I spent the majority of my teaching in the last 12 years or so, specifically dealing with Forex. But in 1992, I started as a commodity trader. And I've been teaching really since 1996. Before I should have really, but I've been doing it a lot longer than most people realize. And this market, index future, I know like the back of my hand. I know what's likely to occur. I know when it's likely to occur. And that was some of the rules that I applied for Forex, because I knew if they're going to be that systematic with trading these financial instruments like bonds and S&P futures, excuse me, wet the whistle, then I want to be in those markets versus trading wheat or soybeans or cattle and just using those types of market moves, or not market moves, but using those specific markets in commodities for like mega trades, you know, trades that do these annual big blow up moves. So I don't think that I should be, and this is my opinion about my speculating. You're welcome to have your own opinion. I'm not trying to twist anybody's arm, steer everybody away from Forex. I'm just saying I get so many questions as to why I'm not talking about Forex so much anymore. And why I'm specifically dealing with index futures is because number one, it's my money. You know, I care about my money more than anybody else is going to care about it. So if I'm going to care about and the risk that I'm assuming, would it make sense that I'm going to speculate in the thing or instrument that I had the most faith at the time? That's why I'm in index futures. Now, if things develop in a way where maybe these central bank digital currencies that all of these countries are talking about doing, that might bring a short period of excitement in Forex as a result of all those types of things. Then obviously I'll be back in there, you know, going ham on Forex pairs. But until we get through this round of elections, because I could really go on tinfoil hat exposition here and just go in like you would never understand why I had all these opinions on just one conversation. It would have to take, you know, discussions after discussions. Because if I say the things I want to say, some of you will have 1,000 questions, or you'll come away from this one thinking, okay, he's not really tightly wrapped. And some of you probably think that now anyway. It's okay. But I just believe that it's better for me in my personal finances. If I'm going to assume risk, I would prefer to be in something I trust and where I think the moves are predictable and less likely to have adverse, sudden collapses. And that's a black swan event. When I tweet or talk about that, or I mention it in video, we're in black swan season, meaning that something is on the horizon, off in the distance, and where we can't really know what direction it's coming from, but I know it's going to be in currencies. How can it not be? Think about it. Whether you want to subscribe to this whole Illuminati globalist agenda, global reset, agenda 2030. These are all things to get you thinking that, okay, if this is real, if there is some legitimacy to all these things that's being talked about, is it conspiracy or is it really going on? Well, I don't know where y'all been the last 2 years, but does it feel normal to you? Do things feel normal? Because if they do, maybe your definition of normal is off. Because in a couple weeks, I've been here for 50 years. And there has never been a time like this before. Not in the history that I studied. And I have history books now that you would be able to buy. They're rewriting all that stuff. And they're giving you what they want you to remember and know going forward. But if these things are going to occur, it's going to have a major impact on the financial markets, whether it be crypto, whether it be index futures or Forex. It's going to have an impact. So because of that, and because that if this thing is holding, or let's say it doesn't really come to pass, doesn't it make sense that if they're going to do a global reset, that currencies are in that discussion? And if this global reset is to be believed, what's their agenda? What's the reason for them to want to do it? It comes down to control. Control the number, control the money, period. It's got to be a number of people that they can manage, and there's too many of us right now. And a lot of people look at what we do as a means of income, and they do. They run their own businesses through speculation. Some of them do better than others. Some of them do exceedingly well. So if there's going to be a global reset and the agenda is control, and how do they control people? Food, which is why I told everybody a year and a half ago that food would be weaponized. And look around, folks. If it ain't happening in your area, give it some more time because it will. And the other thing is money. Control of the peoples in all of the countries. Control the population. Still fear. What's the easiest way to instill fear? Making it impossible to feed the kids. Fill your hungry belly. Make your ends meet. Pay your bills. So if that's true, this is what they're trying to do, and there's going to be a global reset. Currencies, by default, is at the top of the list. And I know the crypto space believes in their heart that the coins that they have in their possession right now, if you want to call it that, is the solution. That's the answer. That's the solution coin. If not, at least good old Bitcoin will be. I don't believe it's going to be. Now, does it go straight down to zero in a complete, just free fall? Obviously, I would be foolish to say, no, that can't happen, because it could happen. But I believe it's going to keep making lower lows, and these short-term little rallies that get everybody thinking the bottom's in, and you'll see all these guys come out and they cheerleader, yeah, it's going up, it's going to the moon. They do that in all markets. So that way people will do what? Buy it, stop underneath the lows. Because right now there is no liquidity down there. One has their stop down there, below the low that just recently was made. Nobody has their stop loss under there until they create a rally and more people buy. Or they go down to that low again, revisit it, and fail to break lower, then rally it. And it makes everybody think it's a 1, 2, 3 bottom, or a double bottom, or a failed swing. And then when they buy that, They put stop losses on there. That's all engineering liquidity. That's exactly what I explained at 20,000. And it happened. And you're going to keep seeing that. You might see a little bit larger intermediate term. Look at your daily chart on Bitcoin. There's a big old gap. I think it might go up into that a little bit. But I don't look at that and think, oh, it's going to 50 and 60,000 and 100,000 Bitcoin. No, it's just to get you suckers in here to buy it. Then put stop losses that don't exist yet. And then they're going to run it down there deeper. Why would they want to do that? Because they're heavily short. They're heavily short. And to get out, they got to have what? Somebody willing to sell it to them lower than the market is right now. And you get that by having sell stops engineered. That's market making 101, folks. And if you don't understand that, you sure as hell shouldn't be in the market with real money. So you can stop sending emails. I've had so many emails pushed to me. Are you saying that Bitcoin this and Bitcoin that? I don't want to talk about Bitcoin, but I have so many students that are losing their minds right now. Understand, this is a reminder. I do not trade. I have never traded. I don't own any coins. I'm not secretly fading anything. I'm not trying to, create fear so that way everybody sells their coins and I buy them up. Like I've had some serious nutters send me emails thinking I'm got an agenda behind all this stuff. I just don't want you to get hurt. When I thought it was going to go up, folks, I told you. I'll tell you when it's going to go to 20,000. I told you. I told you when it's going to go to 30,000. It didn't happen. I said it was going to go to 50, 52. 62 is about this. I get it. I don't see it going higher than that. And it just fell short of 70. And where's it at now? I only talk when I know strongly that this is likely to occur. So I'm telling you, I think it's going to go to zero. Is it going to happen today? By the end of the year? I don't know that timing. But it's not exempt. See, you want to believe the fairy tale that you're going to get around the central banks. You're not. You're not. They own everything. They own everything. The conglomerates, the brands. You like Ford? They own that. Yep, they own that too. Oh, the Tesla. Elon Musk, he's something different. No, he's part of it. Oh, yeah. See, y'all think you got a choice. You don't have a choice. It's an illusion. These people have a part. They're all part of the same theater act. And that is unfavorable of a viewpoint to most people. They can't believe it. They can't see it. Because that would be diabolical. And that's what we live in, a diabolical world. See, these people, and there's not many of them, very small group of people, but these people own everything. And they laugh when they say, oh, I would never buy that brand of car because I'm team Mopar. I have a student in my mentorship that's going to lose his mind when I said that. I have a Mopar. I have a Jeep. So that's not a Mopar, Michael. You gotta get yourself something better than that. It's charged. It's on the order, and I'm waiting for it to come to see you. 50th birthday, baby. So when you have these restaurants that you like to frequent, and I'm very particular about food, or soft drinks, when they're neither soft or good food. I'm a Pepsi drinker. I'm a Coke drinker. I'm a specific bottle of water drinker. I like Fiji or Evian. That's what I drink. But I don't drink Pepsi and I don't drink Coke. But people have these team-oriented mindsets that I'm only going to drink this. And if you think that way and you're listening to me talk about this stuff, you're kind of thinking, what does it have to do with anything? It has everything to do with everything. See, you're manipulated all day long. All day long. You're controlled and manipulated, and you're led right down the primary lane where all of these conglomerates that are owned by the central banks steer your every move. They instill desires that you never really had until they market it to you. See, that's the reason why I like to be like Mike Tyson. He walked out in there and he had a towel draped over his head that he cut a hole in. No socks, just his shoes and his gloves, and that's it. He's there to beat the living daylights out of the guy in front of him. He's not out there with Bud Light, Miller, Chevy, Ram Tough. He wasn't that type of guy. And when I talk to you, I'm talking to you straight, right from the heart, where there's no incentive. There's no secret agenda. I don't have an upsell. And I'm just ahead of the curve by years. And I've been pretty accurate so far. And what I'm seeing coming, I'm alarmed. And you should be alarmed too. Not panicking, not freaking out, losing your sleep and such, but you should be taking initiatives that lead to reducing risk because it's going to get parabolic, not just in the States, but everywhere. Because if this thing is really going to unfold and they're going to try their damnedest to make sure it does, currencies, whether it becomes effective globally, that there's a reset, or whether it's attempted to be done, currencies will be untradeable. How long, I don't know. But because I don't know that, is it fit for me to put millions of dollars behind speculating in that asset class? Not knowing what's likely to occur, but knowing that it's not going to be good, that's going to be adverse conditions. So some of you that are only trading Forex are thinking to yourself, what the hell, what am I supposed to do? Just be careful. Don't trade with large leverage. Look at it this way. Imagine whatever you're trading moves 500 pips in one tick. What would that do to your account? If it wipes you out, you're trading too big. Oh, but I can't get rich. This is not the time to get rich. How many times you got to be told? I'm about to start a new series on YouTube because we've closed the mentorship teachings. Okay. The things that are required to do, we already have it in your hot little hands now. You don't need anything new. You don't need anything amplified. It's just that simple. And all my mentorship students now have been really stimulated by how easy it was for me to go and take some parts of what they learned and just put it into a simple little model. And that is the simplest that I can make it. Anything more is more complicated. So if you look at what I've done on mentorship, YouTube, and that seems complicated, buying pirated mentorship videos is not going to help you because I was talking about moves that were going to happen that day at that time. That's how I mentor. So when you buy those old videos from people that are shilling because they're scum and they're broke, those people are trying to give you something. It's like watching the news 6 years ago. It's the weather report 6 ago. How's that going to benefit you tomorrow? Are you going to need an umbrella tomorrow? How are you going to know that if you're looking at the news 6 years ago? So weather report 6 years ago on a Wednesday in June. You get my point? So that's why I'm here doing it now for free. So we have it fresh, piping hot, right out of my oven. It's relevant right now. And I'm starving these cons, these scammers. And I'm loving it. And my students understand now that what they've been given is a means to an end. That end is what? Making your ends meet. What's that mean? Making your bills. Because folks, let's just be honest. Not everybody's going to get rich trading. But if you lower, somebody's dog over here, the expectations you have, and you think to yourself, okay, I have a mortgage payment, I have a car payment, or I have insurance, and my cell phone bill. Groceries are outrageous now. You know, when I go to the grocery store, it's not unheard of for me to be spending $1,200 to $1,500 to get the things that I put in my house a month. And I tell my wife all the time, like, I don't know how people that are working with families are doing it right now. Like, I don't know how they're doing it. And it's going to get more expensive. So your job's probably not lining up, to give you a significant raise. So you have to consider what you can do to mitigate all of this inflation. And that's my goal in a new series on YouTube. It's probably going to run the rest of the year, so that way you know where we're going. And there'll be reviews, Monday through Friday on the markets. I've either commented on Twitter or actually traded. So just know that I will sprinkle Forex throughout the week in there. But I want you to pay attention to this discussion here. And I'll refer to it, obviously, on Monday's review, or actually Sunday. I'll mention it too, because I'll talk about in retrospect to why I think Forex is a little bit cautious right now, or you should be cautious on Forex right now as a result. If we see multiple currencies have like a Euro, Swissy depegging event, that would be the end of me trading Forex indefinite forever. I would never touch it again. So that way you understand. I get a lot of questions. What would it take for me to not want to trade Forex ever again? Right now, I want to trade Forex, but right now I know that it's a rattlesnake right now. It's shaking its tail, and you knew that sound. You probably never had a rattlesnake in front of you, but guess what? You had your eyes closed and you were taking steps in unknown path. And you start hearing that, you're not wanting to walk anymore. Immediately, you got a picture of a rattlesnake coiled up right now in your mind. Everybody understands what that sound is. Well, I'm looking at Forex, and it's making that sound to me. So I don't want to walk into something knowing full well, and I've publicly made this known now, that I'm likely to be a victim of such a sudden repricing that stop losses will not help you. Period. So you have to, if you're a speculator, if you're an investor, you got to go to where an asset class that makes the most sense. And right now, it's stuck in its futures. That might not sit with you well. It might not be your cup of tea. It might make you think, well, this is not going to work out for me. So I'm going to move on and trust that I wish you the best. But I want you to trust what I'm saying, because if you get hurt financially, it's probably going to be way worse than you ever could imagine. Imagine owing more money than you had in your account. Where are you going to get that money from? See, your gurus don't tell you that stuff. Your educators, your booksellers, course makers, YouTubers, they don't tell you. But that's what's coming. If the last bastion of free enterprise and wealth creation is speculation, and there's a global reset, do you honestly think that these folks are going to let you operate exclusively outside of their control and make the kind of money that they're used to making? That's the whole plan, the division of classes. It's going to be only the rich and everyone else poor. So I'm riding this wave as long as I can in the markets that I trust. I cut my teeth on index futures. Consistency immediately was there for me, where I had hit and miss wins and heavy losses and blown accounts when I was trading other commodities and meetings I know. So when I became more systematic about how I was trading, what I was looking for, what type of move I would look for, the framework, I could see the trade before it would be in the chart. That was in S&P and bond market trades. Whereas everything else was, I hope it just goes parabolically, like straight up, because that's what I was believing that all of the commodities would do. If they're going to go up, they got to go up, limit up 20 days in a row. That's how myopic my view of the markets was when I first started. I was a 20-year-old, limited understanding about money and didn't make much of it. So it's not a surprise to see someone hold the opinions I had, because I had one book read, and it was a rag. It was useless. It wasn't even worth the paper it was printed on. But because it gave me the hope that I could get out of the rat race with it, I went headlong into it. Then when I finally learned how to trade, years later, not months later, not a couple weeks later, not 120 days, not 90 days or 1 week boot camp, it took years, because I had a lot of character flaws that I still wrestle with. And until I learned how to master myself, I could not master my trading. I had to get out of my way. And I didn't realize for a long time that I was the issue. I was the problem. I was the very thing keeping me from finding consistency. But I would argue and insist it was something else. It was the system I was using. It was broken. Let me go buy another book, another course. It had to be something other than me. And that's the trick. That's the fallacy that educators like to take advantage of, because there's a constant flow of new suckers. Like P.T. Barnum said, there's one born every minute. So when I talk to you in this capacity, there is no PayPal. There's no donations. I don't want to do premiere videos anymore because people start giving me money. I don't want that. I don't want anything from you except for your story. I want you to tell me what you did with it, and that you were protected the wrong things with it. And if you are able to do well, that you share your story with me, that how you helped somebody else. Maybe you lent somebody a helping hand by paying their mortgage because they lost their job. That type of stuff has an eternal reward. Plus, it feels amazing. They can't afford groceries; they're down and out, and you buy them a month's worth of it. That feels better than just winning in a trade. I'm telling you, folks, if you do these types of things, it's infectious. Like, it makes you feel good about being who you are. And people love you for that. They love you for that. And that's what we need, more of that. Not, I want to stand out on social media and be looked up to as a hero. I don't want any of you looking at me like that. But I do want you to listen to me, because the things I'm talking about, I believe they're going to help you and not harm you. I don't sell you millionaire dreams. I tell you that if you do what I say you're going to do, should do rather, you'll do well. And that is defined by the limitations you place on yourself. You can make it as much as you want, or if you just want to make your ends meet, that's what I think is the most reasonable thing to do. If you can find a way to make your largest expense each month through your speculation, to me, that's rich. Because your major expense, the one that cripples you, if you don't have your total hours worked, your job or your second job, or your wife or husband working with you as a second income, if that doesn't happen, you can't make that major expense each month. So your ends don't meet. But if you have that major expense each month covered in your speculation, man, imagine that. Forget Lamborghinis, okay? Forget Corvettes, forget living a jet set life, forget that. Start by making ends meet. I have a lot of students that aren't millionaires, but they don't work anymore. Do you think they're looking at Monday and groaning to their soul? Oh man, Saturday's already started, and it means I only have today and Sunday, and now I gotta go back to Monday again. They look forward to Monday because they know that they're not chained to the desk. They're not chained to their bosses' limitations of when and how they can do something at the prostituted rate of return in exchange for their services to that employer. I mean, maybe y'all like being prostitutes. Maybe that's what you want to stay doing. You want to be pimped out by your employer, tell you you got to work the corner Monday through Friday, and you'll get a vacation when they say you have a vacation. And you're not going to make any more money, but you better start doing more tricks because the workload's increased and the staff has been reduced. So the Johns are all your responsibility. Maybe that analogy is a little too crude, but guess what? That's how I view working for other people. I don't have a pen. And to me, if anybody just says, I'm going to just live my life living for my employer, you're cheating yourself. You're cheating your spouse, your significant other, your children. But how can you get to that level of wealth? Notice I said earlier, you just have your major expense each month covered in your speculation. That's rich. You're a rich person if you can do that, because 98% of those individuals that you see passing by each day, they can't do that. They don't even have an understanding that this can be done. Remember the first time you talked to somebody about Forex? Huh? What's a Forex? What do you mean you can make money by touching your screen and all of a sudden it just goes in your account? How can that happen? Where's it coming from? Whose money did you take? Is this legal? Yeah. So it's, to me, it's amazing when I sit down with someone for the first time and explain to them what I've been doing my entire life. And they're like, how's that possible? Well, first of all, you got to understand that school is the indoctrination centers that make you stupid. All of us start out stupid. There isn't anybody that comes into this world and grows up as a child and is not falling out of the dumb tree and hitting every stupid branch. All of us are scarred with it. But the smart individuals, the ones that are thinking outside the box, okay, they get a taste of that bullshit and they think, you know, there's something better has to exist because I can't keep doing this. I got a wife, I have a husband, I have children, I have, you know, my weekend warrior friends that I hang out with. But is this it? This is it? This is the American dream? I'm tied to a 30-year mortgage. I'm paying out my ass. And then the government tells me I better pour rent and property taxes each year or the thing that I own away. And I got to go back to that same place that I can't stand to work around the same people because they're in the same situation I'm in. They're miserable. You're forced to be among other livestock. And you're wondering why the place stinks like shit. You got to change your setting. You got to do that. Your employer ain't going to be, you know what? You've been doing such an exceptional job. You deserve a new lifestyle. Let me make that happen for you. Don't report to work anymore. Stay home on checks for nothing because you deserve it. You did very, very well. You were outperforming your quota for the last 6 months. And instead of employee of the year, you get a new lifestyle. Wouldn't that be great if it did that? Like that's what you all worked for. that type of thing. That's a kind of pension plan that would really want to work. But obviously, that's fiction. That's never going to happen. But you're either going to eat crap and deal with that the rest of your life until you can't do it anymore. That means get old, body breaks down, and live a miserable golden age of your life because you didn't do anything. It's amazing looking back. I'm about to turn 50. There's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently. Some of those things I've covered in my series on YouTube. If I could go back and tell myself younger, what I know now, those types of things. And they're still the heaviest hitters. But I wish I would have listened to my uncle when I was 16, when he was first talking to me about trading. I wish I would have looked at it sooner, because there was some significant opportunities that I could have taken advantage of right when I was 18. But, apart from the things I said in that series, there isn't any regrets. And I feel good about that I was willing to basically shun all of my friends, my family, my employers, and I did it my way. When everybody else said, it ain't going to be possible, you can't do this, that's a pipe dream, you can't do trading, that's a gamble, no one can predict the markets, no one can time the market. Well, I should rename myself. I should go out there and change my name to no one or nobody. Because you all are part of this collective now. We can see things before it happens. We can see what the market's likely to do next. And I make it public knowledge. There's a lot of you folks that were on the fence before January started, when I told you all last year that I was going to be teaching for free. Oh yeah, I'll believe when I see it. Hey, he's probably going to fall on his face and he'll just fade away into obscurity and nobody sees him again. Folks, there's been a large number of people that have been watching this unfold week after week after week since August of 2016. Now you all have a taste of it. It didn't cost you anything. You just have to keep showing up. Have I convinced any of you that it's possible? Have I convinced that I have a skill set that I am willing to lay in your hands for nothing, for free? And I get my rocks off doing it. I can make millions of dollars every single month if I said, here's the price tag, and here's the wonderful thing. You can trust what I'm saying, because I'm saying, I don't want that fucking money. I don't need it. I am padded out for lifetimes. So wouldn't you feel more comfortable with someone that, number one, can do it, could be making money off of you, could be fleecing you, and a whole lot of other people, leading the pack in education and mentorships and all that business, but still says, I love doing this? Doesn't that communicate consistency? Doesn't that communicate that the guy that's talking to you right now has no ulterior motive except for wanting to see you succeed? Because that's what I want. I want all of you to do well. I don't want any of you to look at things like I've discussed here that may be a little depressing. Maybe you didn't look at it like that. Man, I am being pimped by my employer. Maybe I am wasting my life. I don't want to be 50 years old and look back and say, I didn't do anything. I'm going to tell you something, the folks that are listening to this and don't do anything, when you turn 50 and you start thinking about the forks in the road, the choices you had laid before you, which one you took, you do not want to be, this guy did not ask for a dime. He proved it for months. And I didn't do anything with it. How will your future self feel if you don't take the initiative now for free? See, you are watching me do it and others do it. And you may be thinking, "Yeah, I got time. I'll wait until something in my personal life, happens, and then I'll be more focused to do it." No, you need to focus right now. Nothing. You gonna answer the door? 18 months or less. That's the timeline. That's when shit gets really hard. Even for me. Oh, TT. You're privileged. Nothing's gonna bother you. Wrong, man. Wrong. I have kids. Okay, I have kids that don't still listen, like some of you, because they listen to friends, families, member saying, "Oh well, you can do it this way and do it that way," and I'm their father, and I'm living this stuff. They watched it, and it's driving me nuts. Why don't you do what I do? It's like they've been like a spell's been cast over. I'm like I don't know. I don't get it. But it's not shocking to me when I see people that I don't have any relationship to. A lot of you folks that are listening to me, when you don't want to do anything, I understand that, because it's like, okay, what's this guy trying to sell me? What's he trying to get at him? Nothing. I don't want anything from you. I just want to see, in the last 1/3 of my life, or whatever you want to call it, if I even live that long, I want to know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I've left a mark on people that gave me their time, lent me their ear, that I placed something in their hands of value that they can't really put a price tag on. Because honestly, when I sold mentorship, it was $155 a month for 12 months. And then one-time charter payment of $200. Now, some of the folks that were in my mentorship, that was a very hard thing for them to pay. Very difficult to pay. Some actually quit because they couldn't keep up with the payments. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you look at what I just gave away for free, that's sitting out there on YouTube, the videos are not going to come down. That right there is an ATM machine that costs you nothing, and it repeats every single week. I gotta start this truck up. It's getting hot. Give me a second. That's it. Start heading back to the house, and we'll end this. The Lost my train of thought. Wait 1 second. You guys gonna have to give me a lifeline here. Give me a text on from you. I'm taking future sales from you, and guess what? I don't feel bad about that, because there's other ways for you to get subscribers. I'm only here in that space on YouTube and on Twitter to show everybody that I've always been who I've always claimed to be. And my students can do what I claim that they can do. Not all of them. I've been very honest and said that not all of them are successful. Wouldn't it be a little unrealistic for me to be coming out here? All of my students are passing FDMO challenges and my Forex funds challenges, and they're all millionaires. That is something that would raise so many eyebrows. That's a scam. And you see all these other folks out there that they're selling this idea that they're teaching people how to make money. They're doing something exceptionally well. They don't have any profitable students. Where's the profitable students? I'm looking on the internet and I'm seeing people
just with my mentorship that's been made for free, they're out there getting paid for free. They learned this skill set. They opened up whatever these funded account companies are, and I'm not repping anyone in particular. I just know there's two because the students report that's who they use. I'm not saying to go into any of them. But when they start getting money paid to them that they would never earn in 4 years, that's a testimony, folks. That is a money. Don't believe me because I say I can do it. Don't believe me because I show you example after example, and every single week it comes to pass. Don't believe me because of that. Believe me because you have done it yourself. You learned. It cost you nothing but the effort to put into it. That ATM machine that I have on my YouTube channel right now, that is the most clear, concise, right to the point, no bones, even though I do some jawboning in these videos. There is no advantage to going and buying pirated copies of my mentorship because it will not give you what I gave you on YouTube for free. And I swear to God, that's the honest truth. Some of you think that there's going to be some easy, spelled out method. I made it hard even for mentorship because I knew I had clowns in there taking my stuff, immediately parodying what I'm saying, or just outright selling the video. And there's a guy down in Texas waiting for his porn to be finished. He's been selling my videos. Yeah, I know about it, buddy. I know all about it. Like that plot twist. That's all right. Everybody needs to eat. But it's my stuff. If I wanted to come out here and teach everything I gave on mentorship, guess whose prerogative that is? It's mine. But I honor my relationship with those individuals. And I also taught them in retrospect, everything I said to do with the things I taught, they were supposed to do what I did publicly. That's just one model. I could literally sit down every single week for the rest of my life and make a new model based on the things that I know and what I teach. So you all think this is a one-trick pony. This is the only way it can be done. No, it's not. But I sat down and I wanted to find a way that my daughter, who is not interested, I didn't win her over. I don't think she can do it. I mean, I love her to death, but I don't think she has the capability to do it. And guess what, folks? That's okay. Because some of you are going to come to me and start as a student. You're going to try to be a student, but you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Then it's unfortunate. But every endeavor I tried when I was younger, I wasn't successful in it. And I just kept grinding. I looked for something different. But I don't think you should completely stop trading, the pursuit of trading, because you can't make this one particular field. I promise you, if you dig into my YouTube channel, I teach so many things. All you got to do is use what makes sense to you. Here's what you need to do going forward. Now we will close this discussion because I gotta get home and get something to eat. My stomach was growling like crazy. And if I wasn't driving me down here. But when you go forward in your pursuit of understanding what it is that you're trying to accomplish, your trading model, the thing that you're trying to figure out, number one is, where are opportunities found? That means, what makes your opportunity? What is the thing you're trying to participate in? What's the trade idea, the framework? Are you trying to trade a daily chart, an hourly chart? Are you trying to trade a 5-minute chart, a 15-minute setup? And that has to be linked directly to your personality. Because if you're somebody that's lazy and lethargic, and it takes a whole lot of things to get you to motivate and move, day trading is not your thing. I guarantee you that. And you're probably going to do very, very well just trading on a daily chart. Because it takes all day long for that candle to close. So it means it's going to take a whole lot before that time frame really changes the storyline that it's working in. So you need to figure out where you are personality-wise. And there is a huge, huge mix of personalities in my mentorship group, whether it be YouTube or in my private group. There's a lot of you, and y'all have different personalities. And those characteristics, you need to subscribe to a model that matches that, not try to change who you are. So many of my students try to be a mimicking version of me, and it's impossible for them. So they just get frustrated, and they live vicariously through me, but they're not successful in trading. And some of you are thinking, man, he just nailed me right there. Yeah, but you're doing it wrong. I don't want ICT clones. I want to see the guy or gal out there that said, you know what? I'm thankful to put this stuff out here, and this is who it helped me shape as a trader. I've always been this trader. I just didn't have the skill sets to apply to my personality. You see what I just did there? I didn't take any credit for your success, because guess what? Your success is your success. I thought that I had a small little part in the beginning, but you did all the work. You did all the heavy lifting. The only thing I did was give you a roadmap. You still got to get your ass out of bed. You still got to be in front of those charts. You still got to be testing and journaling. You have to do all of that stuff. So why the hell would I expect to get any of that credit? Mentors that are on YouTube and Instagram, they all want to be fluffed up because they're selling ego. They're selling lifestyle that they can't live unless those subscriptions keep coming in. Well, I just walked away from millions of dollars a year to prove that I don't need that money. Who are you going to believe? You going to believe the guy that tells you before it happens and it happens? No safety net. Shows you when he takes a loss. Shows you a live account statement. Hello. I told you, no one's going to doubt in 2022. I gave you the same perspective I've given my private group. It's years, day after day, week after week. You tasted it. Now, some of you might not like the taste of it. That's fine. But those of you that this resonated with, that's my target audience. It's not a specific age bracket. Whoever wants to listen to me, if I can change one person and improve their outlook on life and make their ends meet, guess what that's been? A success. And I can feel good about that. And I can champion their results. I can praise them, not them praise me. I don't want to be praised. I don't want to be worshiped. I want to high five those individuals that worked their ass off and said, you know what? My friends and family didn't understand why I was doing this. My boss laughed at me and said when I wasn't going to be here in a year or so, and now I'm not working there anymore. Not because they fired me, because I lost my job or got made redundant. Because I said I don't need that income. It's a distraction, and it's deterring me from making more ends meet. That's a feeling that none of you can put a price tag on. I could have literally, seriously, I can think about it. If I would have made PDF case studies and included that with the mentorship that's on YouTube, I could have packaged that and literally sold that for $5,000. And I'm going to tell you something right now. That a lot of you might say that's too much money, but I guarantee I would have had about 250,000 people doing it. There's a lot of people out there that once they see it and they understand it, then this is consistent, this works. These things work, and they're going exactly where he's pointing to. When that happens, something magical happens. Suddenly, when somebody says they don't have the money to spend on something, they can pull it out of their ass real quick. Yeah. Perfect example, my uncle, who used to talk to me when I was 16 about trading, asking to do this and do that. Is my aunt Barb. She was like, hey, Stan, we got to do that. Oh, we make money. And then somebody selling season tickets for the Ravens on Craigslist at the price that all of a sudden, yeah, five times what my aunt suggested they have to spend money on. You don't have the money for that. But Ravens tickets, oh shit, we got all kinds of money. Let me get out of the way. We gotta get to the bank. We gotta take out a loan. We're gonna put a line of credit. See, because there's motivation. And the only thing I've done for the first 6 months of this year was what I promised I was going to do. I was going to teach you exactly how to go in and find these setups and prove to you that they're consistent and prove that you you can make real money, not just demo dollars. You can make real money doing it. Not all of you are going to make money every single day. You're going to lose. And guess what? I've proven that losing doesn't really change anything. But if your mindset is not accurate, or not accurate, but right, losing can derail you. And that's why I talk to you like this. That's why I give you these motivational speaks and sessions and kind of like an attaboy, attabarrel, that type of thing that, prod you along. Because it's easy to be influenced by short-term adversities because your friends and your family and your work, say, where you pimp your life out for a small amount of money, you spend more time there than you spend with me. So that negative cloud that's always over top of you, the people that are around you, you hopefully look at them as a support structure, your friends and family, none of them are going to tell you what you want them to say. They're not going to say, you know what, Brian? You fucking deserve this. You deserve this. You've worked your ass off. You've done everything right. If there's anybody out there that deserves this, you do. And damn it, take it. Nobody's going to do that for you. Your spouse ain't going to do it. Let me tell you something. I'm married to this woman now. Okay? I'm married to this woman, and she lives on the fact of your spouse ain't going to do it. Let me tell you something. I'm married to this woman now. Okay? I'm married to this woman, and she lives on the fact of everything I've done. And she still thinks it's a video game. She thinks it's a video game, no skills involved, and she's not impressed by any of it. And it pisses me off. Missy, you piss me off, woman. I've worked for 20 years to make this woman understand how much focus it takes to do this stuff. Nope, not impressed. So let me remind you for the last time, stop looking to be validated outside of yourself because they're never going to do it. You need to be your own cheerleader. You are the person that drags your ass out of bed and says, it's time to go to work. Period. You do that. Well, guess what? You got to use that same moxie to get your ass out of whatever you're doing when you're not at work. And you have to study. You have to study. You got to pour into this everything. Do it for a year. It's 1 year, folks. 1 year. Why a year? Because you're going to see all the seasonal influences that take place over the full calendar year. That's experience. That's a perspective that you cannot appreciate until you see it. Then you have that going into the next year. And if you journaled, you compare and contrast. When you start a new month, okay, what did I experience last September? What did I experience last October? And what was it like the last 3 weeks of December? And what was it like in January? You're going to have something as a baseline, and you do that every single year. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. Once you have consistency, let me tell you something, what's never going to happen. You're never going to want to talk about what you're doing to some family anymore. You're not going to want to do that because you're going to know right away, these people work. And there's nothing wrong with working, folks. But working folks don't like to see other people get out of that livestock pen. They don't want to be championing somebody else because that would be like taking energy and directing it to someone else to do well instead of directing it to themselves and for them to do well. So why are you surprised? They're indoctrinated. You're not going to wake them up. You're not going to stir them up by you telling them that you're going to work your ass off and you're going to learn how to do this and you're going to speculate way more income potential than any other job that you would ever fall into or get degrees with. It ain't never going to be compared. It isn't going to be in the same vicinity, the neighborhood, the zip code. You're not going to get anywhere close to the fucking money that you could make doing this. And if that bothers you because I'm using this language, I don't give a shit. Because I'm tired of people tiptoeing and dancing around, boo-hooing that they don't have this figured out yet. What's stopping you? You have it now. It's done. It's on those videos. Study it. You got to work for it. It doesn't mean I watch the videos, therefore I should know. No, you watch the videos and I tell you what you should be looking for. Then you have to do the work. You have to do that. If you fail, I did not fail you. You failed you. Own it, man. Own it. I failed myself for the first few years until I realized I'm the problem. And then when I realized what those issues were that I was struggling with, perfection. I didn't want to lose ever. I thought that there was a way for me to trade and never have a losing trade. That's bullshit. There is a way to trade with a high degree of accuracy, but it requires you to trade very selective. I just taught you that. You use the economic calendar. High impact, medium impact news events, period. Times of day, days of the week, and seasonal influences. Yes, some of you think, oh, you said the word seasonal. Yes, I'm going to teach seasonal tendencies. It's a topical study. We'll do it. I don't know when, but we'll do it. But I told myself I wasn't going to get enemy doing this. But if you give me enough time, you'll see that I have swings. And sometimes that could be, well, not the best order. But nonetheless, I'm rooting for you folks. I believe you can do this. If I didn't believe it, I would not be wasting my fucking time. This is not monetized. I'm talking into a phone. I don't know how many people are listening. I don't know how many people are going to listen to this. I'm not getting paid to do it. There's no ads here. This is the really real. This is the stuff that I needed to know and hear and be reassured that guess what? Just because everybody else around didn't believe I was going to be able to do this, that I was going to fail. Listen, I'm a simple person that so many people around the world know my name because I persevered and cried to the Lord and asked him, please, please open my eyes so I can see this. And if you do that, I will spend the rest of my life helping others with it. And that will be my ministry. Whether you want to be a churchy kind of guy or not, that's why I do this. I live my life like this because it's my promise. And I'm telling you, I am continuously blessed. Whether you want to say I'm great or you love or appreciate what I do, it doesn't matter. It does not matter whether you do that to me or not, because I know what he does in my personal life. Without him, nothing I put my hands to will work. Nothing. My health would fail. My mental faculties would evaporate. Cars, homes, money, all that stuff can change. Like Job, it can happen too. And guess what? I don't care if he takes all of it, because my relationship with him is the most important. I've tasted wealth. I've tasted rich. I've tasted more money than I've ever spent in my entire life. And I can tell you, if I didn't have Jesus Christ in my life, I would be miserable. And if that bothers you, unsubscribe. Because I'm going to tell you, the more times I talk like this, I'm going to talk about him. And if that ruffles your feathers, I'm sorry. Oh, this guy talking like a sailor, he's going to bring Jesus up. I'm a sinner. I am a sinner. I'm not perfect, folks, but my heart is right. And what I'm trying to do, I'm looking out for all of you. And the only way I can, I have something that I've been blessed with. And I believe that if he didn't want me doing this, he would shut it down. He would not let other people find success in it. And guess what? They're doing it. And that inspires me. That gives me fuel to keep doing this. When you show appreciation, understand this. And I'm so tired of saying this. I see every comment
It only takes a second for me to scroll through, and I'm not reading every single word, but I'm getting the gist of what you're saying, especially the long ones. I don't have time to sit and look through all of it. But usually people say, oh man, thank you, you're the GOAT. Stop calling me a GOAT. Stop calling me a king. Just say thanks, I appreciate what you've done. And you know what? It means so much to me. I am not this little pathetic little man child out there that needs to be called the GOAT. I don't need any of you to tell me what I'm giving you is gold. I know it. It's been in my hands for 30 years. And I love that he makes it possible that I can share this with all of you. I'm such a privileged person to be able to do this and live my life doing it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I live, eat, sleep, breathe this. I love it. It is absolutely, I am the embodiment of whatever a mentor would ever want to be and should be. I am living it. I'm not taking anything from you. I'm pouring myself into you. I'm pouring it. I'm not reserving it. I'm laying it in your hands. The only thing I want you to do is be cool with it. And when I ask other people to credit me, guess what that's doing? And I'm going to say this, I'm going to close it. I don't want you fluffing me up, because when you all hear who the source is, and it takes you right back to me, guess who gets the credit? Not me. Jesus Christ is the one that opened my eyes to all this stuff. With him, I was able to figure this stuff out. And in time, I'll probably give you more testimony to how all these things happen. And you're probably not going to believe any of it, but I don't care. Okay? I don't care if you believe it. But some of you want to know, and I'll share it. But I don't care if you believe it, because it doesn't change the facts. It is what it is. And you may be an atheist. You may be someone of another religion. I'm not religious. I don't have a religion. I'm not here to try to convert anybody, because that doesn't work. Unless the Spirit of God draws a man, that's it. So if I say, because I believe, and you're offended by that, well, that's a character flaw on your part. Because you tune in to me because you want to know my perspective. What am I thinking? Why do I feel a certain way about something? Why do I look at something as an opportunity? What makes it not an opportunity? And how did I get to this understanding? Where did I come from? What did I go through? What did I have to endure? And what was my source of strength, encouragement? I've told you. And some of you aren't going to accept that. That's fine. Again, I'm not Pastor Joe. Okay. I'm not trying to be a preacher. I'm not trying to be the model Christian. I'm not trying to be anything. This is me. I wrestle with a lot of issues, folks. I'm real. I don't hide it. I don't lie to you about it. I don't try to sweep it under the rug. I want to be the real McCoy in every aspect of the word. And guess what? That means you're going to get the dirty laundry sometimes. Sorry. I'm human. I know a lot of you thought I was AI, a robot, something synthetic, but I'm a real guy. I go through the same things. And when students, say things like, oh, well, I don't believe that you do this, and I don't believe that. And I've had people leave my teachings with some of the nastiest emails. And some of them have been trying to get back in right now. And they think I'm just being mean-spirited when I say no. No one can join that group. You all are getting this. This is free. It works. It works in every asset class except for crypto. So I can't go sign it. I've never traded crypto. But there's a lot of my students that swear by it, and that's all I have to say about it. But it, robot, synthetic, but I'm a real guy. I go through the same things, and when students, say things like, "Oh, well, I don't believe that you do this, and I don't believe, and I've had people leave my teachings with some of the nastiest emails. And some of them have been trying to get back in right now. And they think I'm just being mean spirited when I say no. No one can join that group. You all are getting this. This is free. It works. It works in every asset class except for crypto, folks. I can't go sign it. I've never traded crypto. But there's a lot of my students that swear by it, and that's all I can say about it. But it works in Forex. It works in index futures and commodities. And there's something, synthetic something. I know some of you already know what I'm talking about. This I get questioned all the time. Does this work with synthetic something? If it's something synthetic in the name of the asset, I don't know anything about it, and I couldn't tell you if it works or not. So there you go. And the other thing I get asked a lot about is, can I teach it in the Indian markets? Because I guess I have a lot of people from India now follow me. I don't know anything about the Indian markets. I don't have any experience with it. So I encourage other people that ask that same question to go and do it yourself and test it. You know, I don't have any experience with it. So don't worship me. Don't lift me up. You know, I'm gonna say things to be funny, facetious, and you know, in jest, but none of it will ever be welcoming or inviting you, the greatest of all time, king. You know, I hate that stuff. I hate that because I'm not going to look at that and like that comment. So some of you that post that stuff to me, either in my comment section of my videos or my Twitter, I know some of you want me to just put a little heart on it. I've read your comments. I see it. And when I see it, I hate seeing it. I don't mean to be upsetting to you, but I'm never going to like your comment if you do that. So if you're looking for a response or like a handshake or a high five from me, you're never going to get that. If you call me a goat, if you call me the greatest of all time or a king, those are the three things I loathe. I hate that. I can't stand it. And I think it's pathetic that people want to be called that because that's a character flaw. And I wanted that as a young man. I wanted people to do that to me. When I was on Miracle Online, I was cultivating that. I had a cult following on Miracle Online. I just want to be Michael or ICT. I think that's enough. I think it's enough. Maybe it's not enough for some of you, but I enjoy doing this. I love it. I absolutely enjoy being who I am, what God's allowed me to be. And I think as I am humble, and some of you might think I'm not humble, but if you knew me when I was 20, folks, man, let me tell you, I am the most humble person you've ever met compared to that younger ICT. But that person was extremely ugly, shallow, self-centered, and I didn't care to teach like I cared to teach now. I wanted to hold things back. I wanted people to ask and beg and plead. And I got off on that because I was a young guy with new money. And young guys with new money think their shit don't stink. And I was the biggest prick you ever would have met. And people only cared to listen to me because they were hoping I was going to give them something new, some next market call. And when they fluffed me up, I looked at that as they love me. The only thing they were doing is handshaking with me, just keep motivated to keep doing what I was doing. Because if they were honest, I guarantee they all say, this guy's an asshole. And I was. I was. But I wouldn't admit it back then. And that's what wisdom gives you when you look back at your younger self and the stupid things you've done. I'm not proud of any of that stuff. But there's a lot of you young folks in here that are going to do that same thing if you're not careful. And when you're about to turn 50, you don't want to have as many regrets in that regard like I do. Because there's some of the things I wish I could have done differently. I made a name for myself, but for the wrong reasons. So in the latter part of my life now, these are the things that I try to work towards. These are my goals. These are my mile markers. I try to be a positive role model as best I can. I'm not perfect, but I know people are going to be people, and no one could have told me what I was doing back then was wrong because people tried, and I just sent them on their way rudely. So I'm not sure what you got out of this one, but I got a lot to stuff off my chest. So I feel good. Another Saturday confessional. We weren't in the Corvette today. I was in the Highlander. I know some of you want to hear the engine rev and all that, but I didn't want to take it out today because I just wanted to drive this new car. So, and I'm enjoying it. So until I talk to you next time, which will probably be on Sunday night, I think, probably maybe around 8 o'clock. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. I like to do things before the market opens up. So we'll try to aim for, let me see if I can give you a time window for the video. I will do my utmost to try to schedule and upload the market review for Friday's price action between noon my local time and 3 p.m. Sunday. So there's a 3-hour window. Just give me within that window, your YouTube review video will be posted on the channel then. The rest of today, I'm going to be with friends and family, and I'll probably be quiet on Twitter. So if you've got anything out of this space on Twitter, let me know in the replies to the tweet when I said I was going live. It should have been visible to all of you. And yes, I recorded it, so it should be available to anyone that didn't. You should be hearing me. I had to drive to an area where I could get a better signal. So I'm parked here in a local park. All right, so I want to talk briefly, and I promise you it will be brief because I gotta go take a look at this Hellcat. Guy's coming down $2,500. I'm trying to get more than that off, and a cut on the additional fees they like to tag on when you buy it, but that's not what I'm here for today. So obviously, we had analysis given on Friday, and this is kind of like part of the video that would otherwise like make people roll their eyes and oh, this guy, he brags. It's not bragging, okay, but to get it out of me today and not include it in tonight's review, which will allow it to be a little bit quicker too. I'm going to talk a little bit about this here, which is how I teach, how I get my students to learn how to trust themselves, and how I lend my experience. So this morning, I shared with you what my expectations were for S&P. Now, if you go back and look at the tweet, at first glance, it's going to look ambiguous. It's going to be up or down. It's not up or down. Okay, the chart is showing you all the discount arrays. The low on the day, the fair value gap, that's below equilibrium of the range I've actually highlighted. And I showed you the fair value gap I was watching, which is the initial one, which in my mind was a little bit too early on a day that doesn't have a whole lot of news. And 8:30 was kind of quiet. So I said in the tweet, I would, dig it higher. I would run one more time higher. And then, that's where I'm looking for down there, those discount arrays. If I was looking for something north, I would have told you where I'm looking for. The chart shows exactly what the framework is. Now, if you're coming to me without any experience with me at all, it's going to be frustrating if you're here to try to get me to give you a trade signal, a setup. Buy here, sell here, stop here, target here, partials here. I don't do that, folks. I don't do that for the people that actually paid me. Okay. I don't do signal services. Now, I could, obviously, you can see that I'm capable of doing that, but why will I refrain from doing it? I want you to understand this. Okay. I've had a lot of people come to me through my private group, and a lot of them paid to learn this skill set. I promised them, just like I'm promising them again publicly, I will not operate a signal service. because there's a lot of my students that are actually doing it. They're operating signal services. And do I have a problem with that? Absolutely not. Nope, I don't have any problem with it at all. And it would be a really shitty move for me to go out here and start doing that and take any interest away from any of my students being able to do that as a business. Now, you might look at that and frown and say, well, I'd rather have you do it than them. I have some really good students, folks. And believe me, if they're not going to get out there and offer their signal service, which I'm telling you, it's their signals because I don't provide it for them. In my private group, I'm not sitting down and saying, okay, guys, here's what we're doing. Pull out your decoder rings. Everybody raise them in the air. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're all in attendance now. We're all going to buy here. And we're all going to put our stop loss here. And our partials are going to be here. And our targets are going to be here. There it is. Go. That's not what this is. Okay. The ICT way of learning is the school of hard knocks. You're going to get frustrated. And I do that for a reason. Because if you're lazy, if you're weak-minded, okay, if you are impatient, you're going to call me a piece of shit, a fraud, a con artist, and quit. Good. Good day. See you later. I'm still doing what I'm doing. You won't be doing what I'm doing. And then folks that look past all that and say, you know what? I'm going to work with what he's given me, and we're going to see what we see. Those are the individuals that stuck with it. Now, today I gave you kind of like the 2016 version of what I was doing, sitting down with the private group in my daily sessions. I would outline something. I would point to something. I didn't have it drawn up on the chart like I was giving it to you. But I would talk about where I felt it was likely to go. Now, what am I doing there? I'm lending you my experience. This is where bias is framed. So the framework is what we're talking about here today. Now, there's two views. The uninitiated, the people that have no experience with me, how I teach, they look at that and think it's incomplete or it's two sides. He calls both sides of the marketplace. No, let me walk you through it, okay? Because I already blocked some goober this morning that said I called it both ways. There's no fucking way I call that both ways. There's no way that that's both ways. And the tweet's right there. This is what you don't understand. If you think that way, if you felt that way, understand this. This is how you go forward with me. And at least you'll have the better understanding and clarity as to what you're supposed to be doing. If I'm annotating a chart, okay, if I'm showing you something that's below the market price, in other words, at the time of the tweet, if I'm showing or if I'm referring to a price level that's below market price, that is me saying to you, I believe me, not that you should, I believe that the bias for that particular session, unless I say for the day, for that session would be bearish. Now I'm interested and my attention was on that fair value gap that I showed in the tweet. That's my interest. Now, after I tweet, I have to make a decision just like you do. I'm not getting in a move, as you'll see. There was a real execution. It was demo, just so you guys know. You'll see it's a demo trade. It was a trade that was not with real money. But it's Monday. There's no news. I'm trying to get a feel for it. Exactly what I said in the tweet. I'm trying to get closer to price action because I don't see anything in the economic calendar that has me, convinced one way or the other. But based on what I was showing you in the tweet this morning, my bias was bearish. Clearly, everything in the chart was annotated below market price. Now, what did I mean by if it were me, I would rip it higher? Now, what I'm saying there is I'd like to see it run one more time, make a higher high to upset anybody else that wants to get in early, and then come back to that same fair value gap that I was annotating in the chart. That's what I meant. Now, my students understand that because we'll use a fair value gap again. Now, for folks that think they know fair value gaps because they watched me or they learned from somebody else parroting what I've taught, they won't see it that way. So there's two views. There's the initiated, the people that understand what I'm doing, and they understand where I'm pointing, okay? I do this, I'm telling you, I have real students that are in the Twitter audience, and they're constantly coming in saying to people that will chime in because they're frustrated, oh, but sir, you said this and this and this.
look, man, you're not paying attention to the most important things. The most salient things are in that chart that I tweeted. And where did price go? There, and went lower. Now, did I think this morning it was going to overshoot that fair value gap? Admittedly, no, I didn't think it was going to do that. I thought this afternoon it could have done it. But I don't know. Every time I put something out now, it just seems like it's like a ravenous pack of wolves jumped all over it and it starts to run, which I find interesting. But I engaged the second fair value gap. Okay. There was a gentleman that tweeted saying that I really didn't say a sell or a buy, so I really didn't call the market. Again, listen to what I'm saying here. And if you look at what goes on, how I teach, that's what I'm doing. I'm pointing downrange. Okay, that might be above the marketplace or down below the marketplace. And today, there was no chart pointing to anything higher. Did I even give a level above market price? No. No. I'm not pulling things out of thin air. I'm giving you a logic to focus on. One setup this morning, but if the setup doesn't form an entry, then there's nothing for us to do, period. Some of you actually entered on that fair value gap and you've proven it by tweeting it to me. After I started talking about and shared my thoughts about the marketplace, and here's my framework, here's what I'm paying attention, here's my attention right now. So I'm tipping my hand to you. And to be honest with you, this is going to sound arrogant, but you should be fucking glad I'm doing that because I hold this stuff back for a reason. There's a lot of little assholes out there that run around creating little mentorships, parroting everything I said, never crediting anything. They didn't go through the bullshit I had to go through to learn this. And it makes them look superhuman because they're calling out things and referring to things that I'm doing. And that's why I wait to the last minute, because I've learned that there's a dozen of them, at least that I know of, that are in my mentorship. And I'm trying to find which user group they're in, and so I can remove them, just to take their meal ticket away. So I understand that there's going to be audience members that come to me, and they're going to look at what I'm doing, and it's going to feel like, well, he's really not doing anything, when in fact I'm doing a whole lot. It's just you want me to sit down with you and say, okay, I'm concerned about you believing that I can do this. I'm so concerned that I'm going to lose sleep over this. And I'm so anxious that people are going to think I'm a fraud that I'm going to have to sit down with you on a day-by-day basis and tell you where to buy, where to sell, put a stop loss, take a profit target, run up a live account, win Robin's Cup, break Olympic records, do backflips off of things in the beach, okay? Sit in there and talk about stupid shit in videos, then don't prove anything else. That's what everybody else does. You want me to do all these things. Every time I do something new, or in addition to what I was ever willing to do, it's never going to be enough. But I'm telling you, I'm never going to put you in trades. That's not going to happen. One, because I just ain't going to do it. Because if I did that, everybody would be out there running services and just doing what I'm doing. And they would make lots of money. And that would get on my fucking nerves. Okay, I wouldn't do it. I will not do that. Now, I've also told this to my students that are running signal services and or planning to do so, that if they have a large group, they're going to have that same thing. People are going to come in, they're going to rip them off and copy their trades and such. And there's no way around it. So to avoid that shit, because it would get on my nerves, I avoid doing it, number one. Two, I keep that market there for my students, because there's a lot of people out there that are never going to learn how to do this. They're going to watch me teach this stuff for free and prove that it works. And they're still going to bitch and complain to me. Oh, I just can't make this work. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm still confused. But you said this in this other video, forgetting everything I just said about that very morning, what we're looking at. They're talking about gold. Who the fuck said anything about gold today? Nobody mentioned gold. I didn't talk about gold. No mention of gold. Why are you asking me about gold? I don't give a fuck about gold. Gold sucks. I don't like gold. Okay, there it is. It's just like crypto to me. I don't want to trade it. If I talk about a specific market, why the hell are you going to ask me about something else? I'm not going to divert my attention to something else. That's another reason why it was too much for me in 2016 when I was doing I think it was 835 people doing my very first mentorship. And I did, I think it was go-to webinar. I think it was go-to, I don't know which exactly, because we went through several of them, but we'll just say it was go-to webinar. But it was a live webinar service that I had everybody in the room at one time, and they all could question. What the fuck was I thinking there? Let me tell you something. I don't give a shit how good you are. When you have 800 people asking you something, and you're trying to do the best to make them feel like, you know, you care about their question, you want to give them a response. Holy shit. I couldn't concentrate. I have a hard time focusing anyway. But bottom line is this, if you have 800 people in there and they're questioning you, all different shit. And it was the same way then. I have a Eurodollar chart in front of me. And they're fucking asking me about dollar yen. And I hate fucking dollar yen. And you're ignoring my question, ICT. I'm paying you. You should be answer my questions. And I'm thinking to myself, shit, you know, I gotta answer this person. They're right. I mean, they're asking me a question, but they're wrong because they're not following along in the presentation. And the whole time, prices move around. I'm second guessing what I'm doing. I can't concentrate. So I've learned not to do that shit. I just take what I'm willing to put it out there in the public, and you just chew on it. If I'm wrong, I'm okay with being wrong. But I'm not questioning what the fuck I'm doing at the time. I'm not fielding everybody's question. That's why if you look at when I post something, just for entertainment value, read the people that respond to it. Look at them. It's like, are you even paying attention? Are you paying attention? Because I'm taking all of it, everyone's attention into one focal point, one particular market, one time frame, one chart, one structure, one framework. There it is. And you're still going to get 2 fucking views. The people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, ain't paying attention, don't give a shit about what I'm doing. They want to make their system work. That's what it is. They're coming here and they want to see something that they're doing in their chart with their fucking indicators, with their stupid shit that they learned from somebody's fucking bullshit book on Amazon. And they're coming here and they're trying to say, okay, ICT seems to be right a lot. So if he gives me like a thumbs up or if he likes my post, that's like the little nudge for my trade in my system. So I can come back and say, yeah, I was in this trade. I didn't use your system, but I took the trade. I've seen so many of that shit too. Like, listen, if you came here to learn. That's it. If you came here to size up with me, bring your fucking shit. Let's go. I ain't fucking waiting around no more. There's 2 dicks out there running around saying they can beat my ass in trade. Motherfucker, I'm right fucking here. What the fuck am I still waiting on you, bitch? How many fucking weeks and months do I gotta fucking wait around? I'm not out, motherfucker. Let's go. Sitting around fucking making stupid ass fucking motherfucker. Man, you better bring your fucking shit, because I'm gonna tell you right now, at the end of the year, if you don't fucking step to me, bitch, I'm gonna open up a can of fucking whoop ice on your ass. You're gonna need these fucking like that, and everything gonna fucking come the rest of your fucking life. Motherfucker. No, I am not everybody's fucking choice mentor. I am not fucking balanced. I don't give a fuck who likes my fucking ass. But come into my fucking house, come into my motherfucking house. See if I can't fucking do something, bitch. Sometimes what I can do, I just 50 times what you fucking do. And I can do it one time to fucking that's what you start with, you fucking asshole. See, I have to get out of the fucking house to do these types of things. So my wife will be like, what the hell's going on with you? I gotta let it out. I gotta let it out, folks. It's fucking almost end of July. Somebody out there was supposed to be beating my motherfucking ass in the markets. Why the fuck am I still fucking waiting? I fucking told all of you, these fucking assholes will never freaking stop. They'll never freaking stop. No. But I'm a fucking fraud. Fuck you. Compound I'm a fucking fraud, motherfuckers. I keep laying this shit down. Keep laying it down, laying it down, laying it down. But why are you responding to that, Michael? You have all these supporters. The supporters You're already convinced. I don't need to talk about that. You know it. But I already warned you. I have OCD. I'm obsessive. My eye is going to go to the nail. And where they raise their head up, that's the one I'm hitting. Because these people don't make money. These people have insecurity issues. Now, I might seem a little unhinged at times, like just a moment ago, but I can assure you I'm very lucid as to what I'm going to be doing in the marketplace. And I don't care who believes me. I want these doubting Thomases to come here. They think they have a bigger dick because I will remove it publicly and feed it to their fucking ass. I'm tired. I'm fucking tired of everybody sitting in the sidelines fucking and getting away with it. No, you're not getting away with shit no more. No, 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 no. That time is gone past. See, you're going to have this problem. If you get out here in the public, especially the way today's society is, they're so toxic. They're so fucking toxic. And they're so about me, 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 me. Make it about me. They're a victim, or they should have been considered over someone else. Yeah, I'm not going to convince everybody. I'm aware of that. You know, some of you probably already turned the shit off by now. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if all of you unfollow me. I don't care if you ever watch my videos. I don't care. I don't care. Because none of this stuff is going to affect how I live. That's already been established before I even did mentorships. Period. So when you open yourself up, I mean, there's some people out there are very stronger. I guess this, I'm not like to say it like this. There are folks out there that are more psychologically stable to endure. I mean, this shit is about me. It'd be easy for most of you, but well, I'm not good at any energy. I can't do that. And when you guys try to mother me and say, oh, ICT, no, that pisses me off. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that to me. Because I know you mean well, but the only thing I see is someone trying to tell me what the fuck to do. And I don't like that. I don't like it. So when you come to this Twitter or you come to my YouTube channel, it's a one-way street. Now, that street might end with a losing position for me. And I don't want any of you to suffer that. So understand that I'm not trying to get you into trades. Because invariably, if I keep doing this, I'm going to have a losing trade. And then unfortunately, that's going to be the one where the guy sits around, he watches me do all this stuff, calling all kinds of different moves, points where the market's going to go. And then finally, he has the cojones to get in on one setup. And he's thinking, well, I got this funded account, and I got to get this much money to be able to pass it. You know, I got 3 days left. Fuck it, I'm going home. And that's the day I get losing trade. Now, forget the 50 fucking times before I was right. But this one episode, this one instance, okay, this moment where they plunged and did something and took initiative, but they over leveraged and they did things that they shouldn't have done, they lose. Who's getting the fault for that? Them? Fuck no. I am. I'm the one. I'm the asshole. When I had no idea they were even pushing the button. Nobody's going to take the ownership of that. They're always going to keep it on me. I'm aware of that. But when you take the focus away from the things I'm pointing to, and I'm saying, look at this market here. Look at this time frame. This is the framework. This is the thing that you need to be watching right now. Think about it, folks. These are questions all of you have asked for years. ICT doesn't do anything. He doesn't use his tools in front of you. I'm putting you in front of the chart. I'm putting you in a position where you can see it. Before it unfolds, watch, study it. Because if you haven't been keyed up on that chart this morning, you would have looked at it in hindsight and said, oh, well, I can see it now. But I'm showing it to you before it happens. Now, that second fair value gap, I took a shot of me actually going in where it shows the little order confirming that 10 short were placed. You'll see that tonight in the review. That's it. The only trade. I didn't do any kind of pyramiding or anything like that. I did partial along the way, where the chart says. That's what I did. Now, was it a lot? No. Was it a setup that was bread and butter? Yeah. It required a second fair value gap. That's what I waited for. Now, I could have went in, went short a minute or two after I sent that tweet. I could have done that, but I waited. What was I waiting for? Exactly what I teach you. That second fair value gap that I put additional tweets on. That's the one, that's the setup where we had that swing low that actually broke that. That's the one I worked with. And I had to allow for the revisit to that higher fair value gap. So when I put the trade on, I had to favor the lower end of the price being delivered to that discount fair value gap, but allow for the stop to potentially, well, not potentially, but be above the first fair value gap. So there's a little bit more risk there because we were going into the 9:30 opening. There was a lot of uncertainty, no news, but it was standard price delivery today. This wasn't like economic news coming out and sending it everywhere. But if you look at the 5-minute chart and 15-minute chart, zoom out before I show you tonight in the review. If you look at it, you'll see that we ran up into a fair value gap. So we were pushed up into a premium overnight until this morning. So when we had that little short-term shift in market structure that I didn't draw attention to, but your eyes should see it. When I sent that chart to Twitter, your eye should already say, okay, you see fair value gap. So where was the shift in market structure? Oh, there's that swing low. Yeah, there was displacement. Yeah, we trade back up into the fair value gap. Okay, boom. But you're not going to learn this, folks, if you're trying to give me something else to look at when I'm taking your attention to what I'm worrying about. What am I looking at? What's my concern in the marketplace? Where am I expecting price to go? What market? What time frame? That's framework. That is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Like, I would love to have had this been given to me coming out. I would have loved it. I would have learned so much because I'm taking you to a chart where that framework is going to provide a setup. Was the setup right then and there? No. But you have to study it and watch it with these levels in mind, that logic below the marketplace. And when you have that, it feels better when you're watching price. You don't even have to put a demo trade on. Just watching it, you'll feel encouraged because it starts delivering closer and closer to those levels. And it creates a little smaller imbalance and comes back and rebalances that and then comes and goes once more time lower and keeps digging in and digging in and digging in. And then when the market opens up at 9:30, it starts backing. It runs right to the levels we're looking for. Isn't that not what I talked about in that 2022 free mentorship on my YouTube channel? That's exactly what I'm teaching you. How many times do you got to see this stuff to have any faith in it? Apparently, nobody is going to be able to do enough for some of you. And that's not my audience. There are people that I absolutely mute. I might not block you, but I mute people sometimes. When I have an inclination that they're probably really not trying hard, they're just there to wait for the setup, wait for me pointing to the obvious type thing. You're going to get fucking frustrated with that because I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to lay a cookie in your hand so that way you get comfortable with me giving you the trade setup. No, I'm doing far more than will be reasonable for someone to still be able to learn. You're learning to trust this because I'm taking you into a small little section of price action. Okay, small little section of price where the logic that I'm teaching you should materialize. I'm not looking at any chart patterns before this little area in that chart that I tweeted. That little 5-minute framework, that's what I was focusing on. That little piece, nothing before it didn't have any impact on what I was trying to show you. Nothing. What you had in that chart was all you needed. When I should do what you see on Twitter, last time I was on Twitter, I would take everybody to a specific fractal in price. I'd say, what do you see? And so many times, people would come in here,
It's not enough information in a chart. Bullshit. You haven't studied enough. That's what that is. That's what you're showing me. You don't know what I'm teaching. You haven't been learning. You haven't been studying. Because if you have, you know enough. You know what this charts, what does it do next. So when I see people that have sincere, genuine questions about the things I'm posting, I'm either going to reply to them. Don't expect it to, but I'll reply to them on their tweet, or I'll bring it up in the review or a video in passing. I'm not going to say this person asked me. I'm just going to have it in my notes. Talk about this. Talk about this. Talk about this. So there's a lot of folks out there that are not equipped to do this, folks. And you might be one of them. You may be struggling with not being able to do it. You can't bring yourself to study. You can't bring yourself to back test. You can't go back and look. And what is back testing? Just going back and looking at old moves and breaking them down, how I teach you. See, you hear all these people talking about how hindsight, that's bullshit. I should teach this, hindsight. Well, first of all, everybody that ever learned anything learns from hindsight. When you go to get surgery, the guys that were cutting on you, or the ladies cutting on you, you know how they learned? Old shit, old case studies. And they cut on dead bodies too, cadavers. So are you going to say that that wasn't enough education for them? Now, maybe you're not the one that wants to raise a hand for their first live surgery, but you're never going to know that. But everybody learns from hindsight. And what I'm doing is I'm doing the greatest service a mentor could ever do. Number one, I'm not taking any money from you. How about that? How about the fact that I could be making millions of dollars doing this shit, and I still gotta get grief from these fucking assholes. Listen, I'm never gonna win with them. I know, but don't mother me when I'm reaching out to them and responding and slapping them around, because I gotta get it off my chest. Because if I don't get it off my chest, it's gonna manifest itself in some way, shape, or form in my home. And I don't want that. So I discharge it publicly. Twitter is my therapy session. I get all my ego aspects out there. That's what I do. I manage myself there. When I didn't have Twitter, what was I doing? I was talking to my kids, my oldest boys, telling them this is what it is and talking to them the way I talk to you here. No, I'm not the Christian guy that refrains from bad words. I can't control myself sometimes, folks, and I've already been open about that. And please don't send me emails and scriptures about, oh, well, if you had the Holy Spirit, you wouldn't do this and do it. Listen, I am a man. I sin. Okay? I sin. Until I die and leave this body, I'm a sinner. And I repent for it every single time. So please don't send me that stuff either. I know. Every time I do one of these things, I go in with the intention of not going off rails, but I do, which is the reason why I don't want to do live streams, because I'm going to go off the rails, and my ego will really shine there, because I'll be doing all kinds of stupid shit. So I have to keep myself on a leash, and this isn't the best type of leash, but it is really me. This is the real me. This is how I am. That means sometimes in the same conversation, you'll get Dr. Jekyll, and other times you'll get Mr. Hyde. And I wrestle with it. And when people make snide remarks or they make bullshit up about me, I go after that. I go after that type of stuff, because all of it's bullshit. It's all fake. And I can prove this stuff. And I've already said this before. If they ever wanted to do an investigation with me, come on. Bring me your fucking computer. Let me look up my charts, and I'll do this shit right in front of you. And I'm proving it in front of all of you now. I'm calling it, I'm doing it, I'm executing, there it is. How much more do you need to see? You want me to help you run your account up, that's the problem. That's your perspective, that's your view, that's not reality. The reality is you need to understand that there's things that you're gonna have to learn to trust, because you put your ass in front of the chart. You did that. You stayed there, you watched price deliver, you watched how price meandered around and moved a little bit away from where you thought it was going to go to next, the next two candles, but still delivers what you thought was going to happen, or where I'm pointing to. That's a struggle that you have to go through. Everybody does. And when I first started learning how to trade, it was very, very difficult for me to sit still and let these candlesticks paint. Like it was, well, I didn't use candlesticks when I first started doing it, I had little close bars, but it was very hard to submit to that. I know it needs to likely go to a specific price level for me to get out or move my stop if I was using one back then. But to submit to, all the times it sits still, moves back a couple points, and then goes in your favor, and then quickly comes back against you, but not against you in your position, but the new equity high in that trade, it eats away a little bit, and you think yourself, oh, it's reversing. That's stuff that you have to sit in front of the chart and endure. Like you have to do that, folks. I can't make that easy for you. And if I sit down and point at every single candle, every single time it fluctuates, you know what you're going to take away from that experience? ICT walked me through that. I didn't see it for myself. Where you have to see it, feel the internal wrestling match. Okay, this feels like it's reversing, but I'm going to stick with the idea that it's going to go to this level. And then when it does, you know how that feels? Some of you don't know what it feels like. Some of you get on there and you lie, and you say, oh, I have the same trait, but you're not showing me that you have the same trait. So those comments, I really don't appreciate them. I don't like them, because if I was a follower, okay, say I was subscribed to ICT, it's a separate person, I'm not me, I'm somebody else. And I'm following ICT on Twitter. And I see a lot of folks come back and say, oh, I had the same trade as you. But they didn't post anything. They don't have an entry in their chart with the stop loss. You know what I'm going to think? This person's full of shit. Or this is ICT making up accounts, because he can't possibly have 19, 20, 50 different accounts where he's doing all these account entries and showing examples. That's what I would think. So in some respects, the trolls have a valid point in certain points. But you can't say I don't have a trade. You can't say the concepts don't work, and you can't say they don't have profitable students, because all those boxes have been checked very, very, very clearly in front of everyone. So there's two sides, two views of a framework that I outlined. I'm also doing this on the fly, folks. Sometimes, like this morning, I'm not going to be in front of Twitter. I'm not going to be in front of my charts. That's why I was doing everything from my phone. I'm walking around my kitchen. I'm trying to get breakfast made for myself. Okay, I'm trying to feed my two boxers. I'm trying to do all these other things, because the economic calendar wasn't all that exciting to me. So I was doing my normal stuff. But I saw something, and as I'm doing other things in the kitchen, I'm one thumb in it, trying to get that chart together and wrestling with it, because it kept dropping the fucking line on the wrong candle end. It was pissing me off. But finally, I got it all squared away, and I threw it up on the Twitter, and there it is. So when you see tweets like that, and if there is not a price level, okay, if there's not a price level above market price, how the fuck can you say that I'm calling it higher? I'm not calling it higher. I'm not calling that higher. Everything in that chart was below market price. There was not one level hint of that. I did not say anything buy side, nothing. The chart was saying everything. If it wasn't important, I wouldn't have scrolled back far enough to show you the low of the day, where the fair value gap was in relationship to equilibrium, and draw out the fucking fair value gap and put a little dollar sign. This is where it's going to draw to. That's what I felt was likely for the morning session. But like a pack of ravenous wolves, I think that, everybody tore into that trade. Maybe chased it, who knows? But you watched it unfold. And that's a bread and butter setup. That's not a barn burner. That's not like a big move. But that's the kind of stuff that when I refer to a bread and butter setup, what is a bread and butter setup? It's a setup where they repeat almost daily. You will get one in either the morning session or the afternoon session. But rarely will you get same direction, both morning and afternoon session, when there's no real economic data on the calendar. So when I said standard delivery today, that's more or less look for one good setup in the session. That's it. Don't try to milk it. Don't try to go crazy. Don't go in there and try to pyramid anything, because that's probably not going to pan out for you. So bread and butter is get in there, get something small, and be content with it, and move to the sidelines, and don't go crazy about it. Was I able to capture
that full morning move, I already said no. You saw where my limit order was, the last single filled on limit, and that was it. The closure of that fair value gap, that was all I was anticipating for this morning. But if you look at it, what happened was it went back up to that area where I showed the partial, the first partial to be taken, that fair value gap. Look what it did. Went right back up to it. Like precision, ICT precision. Swiss precision ain't got shit on ICT. Okay, I need to start my own watch collection. ICT timepieces. Oh, he's so arrogant. So anyway, but look at your chart on that 5 minute, and you'll see that the market went back up when Nasdaq made a lower low, and right now previous day's low and all that. S&P was still meandering around. It went up to that fair value gap where the first partial was annotated the chart that tweeted. It went right back up to that to do what? Offer what? An algorithmic short. Didn't notice that? Go back and look at your chart. Your jaws went to drop. Then it went lower. See that? Where'd it go? To the relative equal lows. Look at the 5 minute chart. It's there. So when I point, what I'm suggesting to you as the viewer or the student, if it's above the marketplace, you should know that I'm tipping my hand to you. I'm showing you my hand. We're in poker, okay, we're playing cards. You are a confederate. You're part of it, okay? You're with it with me, okay? I'm showing you my cards. No, I'm not showing you how I'm going to play those cards, but the students of mine know what I would be utilizing. You don't know if I'm going to use a breaker. You don't know if I'm going to use a fair value gap. You don't know if I'm going to use institutional. We're not going to talk about that. See, that's another reason I don't like to do live stream, because I'm going to cross things I don't want to talk about publicly that paid members pay for. And you shouldn't be upset about that, because I've already given them a lot already. And I'm working with the same model I've taught since, well, in February, the 2022 free mentorship. This pattern, folks, I'm telling you, if you haven't warmed up to the idea how this thing works and how often it completely just delivers beautifully over and over and over again in all different asset classes too. But I try to push you hard with index futures and Forex to study those. You don't need anything else. You don't need to subscribe to other people's courses or mentorships, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you know what they're gonna do? They're going to reinvent what I've been teaching. And they can't do what I'm doing, period. If they could, they hear me because they're listening. Come to my fucking Twitter account and call the market before it happens, and I'll do the same thing, and I'll blow the fucking doors off your ass. Okay? And nobody will subscribe to your ass then, and I'll gain your followers too. And I'll still be doing it for free. See, I'm, like I said, I've said this before, I'm fucking bulletproof. None of you guys can do shit to me because I can trade. I can stand in a courtroom and do this. I can do it with a live account. I can do it with a demo, and it doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't make me feel less of a trader. I don't feel like I'm not good as a mentor because I'm being responsible as a mentor. There's lots of trade setups that's going to form that I'm not going to be participating in, but I can still engage them and show you that this is what it does. I'm looking for my own setups. This morning, that may have been your setup, but because I didn't do a live trade in it, but I did execute with a demo, don't look at that and say, well, you know, ICT didn't take that with a long account, so I probably shouldn't use this as my model. No, don't do that. Don't fucking do that. Because if you saw this morning before I even put my tweet out, you have found your model. That's the one you lock onto. Fuck what ICT says. You found it. You know what the fuck you're looking for now. Don't let anybody, especially me, because I'm not trying to discourage anybody. Once you find your own niche in this, that's it. Don't let me change it. Don't let me influence any of that. Because once you find that one, that's what everybody's looking for. That one thing, that model, that approach, the way the chart looks, the time frame that you're looking for it to form in, the logic behind all that shit. Once you have that, stop looking. Stop trying to tinker with it. Stop fucking around with it. It works. Just look for it to continuously deliver.
And you're gonna have losing trades with that. Some of my better models still have losing trades, folks. There's no perfect trading. There isn't. It doesn't exist. But if you have something that you see based on what you learned, don't change it. Don't look for me to add more spice to it. You don't need to kick it up a notch. You want it to be simple, easy, that is so obvious in the chart that your eye goes right to it. Don't let me fuck that up for you because I don't know that you're doing it. So it's not intentional if it happens, but just know this. If you have something that's in your trading that you've been doing and it's working, don't tinker around with it. Don't mess with it. Don't try to add more to it. Just work with it because experience will guide you and tell you what you should be doing. Because right now, so many of you are just scratching the surface of finding consistency. And as I mentioned before, that's a very dangerous